Humility is by far the most important trait that you will develop. It frees you. It completely relieves you of your own ego in a way, and anything that isn't humility is ugly. It's always ugly. Imagine you got two people, one of them is humble, and the other one's not. It doesn't matter how good they are at what they do. If one of them's arrogant, it makes them worse, and if the other's humble, it makes them better. And you don't need to be self-sabotaging or self-deprecating in order to be humble. Humility is more like a sort of you view yourself objectively without any sort of egoic attachment. And what I mean by that is, when you see someone, like in sumo wrestling, when if you win or lose, you still don't show emotions. That's an example of humility, because you view yourself without any pride, or any anger, or any resentment, or any bitterness, and you are free. You have equilibrium. You are tranquil. And it doesn't matter what happens to you, because you're always sort of viewing yourself as an avatar which you're playing as, rather than an existing entity prone to every threat in the universe. I think more and more people are learning that stress is caused by not being able to control something you think you should have control over, which is very important, because if you can figure out what you can and can't control, and then completely forget, or at least detach from what you can't control, then you won't bother by it anymore. It's as simple as that. It really is that simple. It's just practice. What you are positively or negatively affected by affects you in direct proportion to how much of your soul you've given to it, which means that you can choose with a type of mental objectification, sort of mental clarity, what to care about, depending on your values, which requires self-examination, and then anything else that happens shouldn't bother you. And this bit is important, because you can choose to care about the people you love, and when they die, inevitably, you'll be upset about it, which is good, and you should grieve because you care about it and you've chosen to, and that's not a bad thing. Because it shows how much you care about them. It shows what your values are, and if you value the lives of the people you love the most and they die, if you weren't bothered by it, it would be very concerning. So it's good to be bad. We shouldn't feel bad about feeling bad. But it's when it comes to the things that really don't matter to you, like with social media. Like if someone on social media comments on something you posted in a negative way, most people will be like, oh yeah, don't be bothered by that. You just sort of let it go. You don't need to care about it. Detach yourself from it. But it also accounts for the positive things. Some people think that when they work hard, they deserve good things. Like they think that good things should happen to them just because they're good people. No, that is not humility. That's entitlement. You can't expect to reject the bad if you're taking the good, because it's based on the same principles, and it's not really good. I remember I saw a video on YouTube, a short, that was criticizing the people who call calisthenics boys attention seekers, because they deserve the attention. They deserved the attention that they got from other people on YouTube because they had worked hard to achieve their goals. Like, what is that? When you're good at something, that is good, and you should use that to give to the world. You should use that for yourself, and you should use that for others. You should use it to bring about the fullest good. But when you expect other people to give you attention for it, or you expect good things to happen to you, or you think you deserve some sort of reward for it, then it becomes meaningless, because you're not doing it for the sake of good. You're doing it for the sake of the reward. It's just transactional, and that's so void of purpose. I think there's a quote, something along the lines of being like a tree, so that you can produce fruits and then drop them for other people, and then just keep producing fruits and not expect anything back, because that's what makes a good tree, and that's beautiful. I apologize for getting a little bit worked up about it, but I can explain, that is my ego, that is my lack of humility coming out even in myself, which is why these videos are also directed towards me. But when you use your mind completely to address something like this, you can see when someone is humbled by how calm and composed they are in debate with someone, especially when they start losing. Because when they start losing, if they keep calm, then you know they're more concerned with truth rather than defending their own position. And you can find those people who have an emotive attachment to something they've rationally formulated, along with those people who believe what they believe out of nothing but an emotive attachment without rationality. And when you usually the people who just believe in it for the sake of it, just because they're attached to it emotively, you can usually just beat in any argument. They always give up, or they always say they're tired, or they always move on, or they always try and laugh at you, or they try to insult you, or they get worked up, and it never works. Their inability to change isn't relevant to what they were put here for. What they were put here for isn't any better or worse than what you were put here for, but they're just different. They're equal in value, but they're different. And it's just a matter of fact that those people aren't going to be good at debating if the sake of the debate is truth, because they're not doing it for truth, they're just defending themselves to feel important in that situation. And that's not a bad thing. They can be bad at that, the same way you can be bad at something else that they're good at. But you ought not to argue with those people if you can avoid it, because, as you know, they're not looking for truth. And what you can do in those situations when you encounter someone like that isn't to brutally just tell them the truth as you might do it if you were talking to yourself, but to simply try to help them or make them feel good, or use sort of mysterious epithets to gently nudge them in the direction, even if it's indirect. Because they will start to like you and trust you more if you're not brutally trying to show them they're wrong. And it takes humility to do that, because you need to see them completely disagree with you and for stupid reasons and not get worked up about it. And when you just try to help them instead of defending your own position, it shows that you're not attached to your own beliefs in that way. And then this works out even more, because if they do show you wrong, then because you're not attached to your beliefs, you can change and you can improve and you can be shown wrong and you're not incorrigible. So you can, if you just detach from yourself with humility, not only can you help people who are stupid, but you can learn from people who are smart. It's a win-win. When you find those people who have genuinely confronted their own opinions to make sure that they're not based on emotional prejudices instead of reason, and yet still have the humility not to expand them aggressively or even at all to those people who didn't ask or don't care or disagree for stupid reasons or no reason at all, you're struck with a sense of admiration for them, because you realize that they don't do it for the sake of appearing impressive or smarter than you, or just for the sake of status or intelligence. They do it to be a lighthouse, to guide people without blinding them when they're in the darkness. And that's beautiful. Thank you for watching.